As Australian beef exports to China wither amid diplomatic tensions, demand there for United States grain-fed beef has soared, fueled by the appetites of a growing Chinese middle class. Hotpot restaurants, Japanese barbecue chains and steakhouses, all expanding in the world's number 2 economy, are swapping out Australian beef for United States meat. Several Australian suppliers were banned last year and shipments from others take too long to clear customs. Beef imports from the United States have grown to 83,000 tons in the first 8 months of 2021, 9 times the amount in the same period a year ago, according to Chinese customs data, and are set to be worth more than $1 billion this year. Australia also fell behind the United States this year as the top exporter of grain-fed beef to China. Deteriorating relations between Beijing and Canberra have hurt supplies from Australia. 5 of its largest factories were suspended by Beijing last year for reasons such as poor labeling and contamination with a banned substance. Though other plants are still allowed to ship to China, importers say they face long delays. Beef imports from Australia in the first 8 months fell to 96,000 tons, half of what they were in the same period last year, China customs data shows. That compares with about 1 week for meat from other origins. China's General Administration of Customs did not respond to a request for comment. Sino-Australian ties have been strained since 2018 and worsened last year when Australia called for an independent investigation into the origins of the novel coronavirus, prompting trade reprisals from China. Grass-fed beef, a premium product in other markets, typically goes to cheaper channels in China, such as mass-market restaurants and supermarkets. Last year imports accounted for 40% of China's beef consumption, or about 2 million tons. Those supplies are dominated by low-cost grass-fed producers Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. Demand from mass-market consumers is slowing amid a weaker economy. China's mid to high-end market, where grain-fed rules, continues to grow, however, as consumers trade up, eat better, said Pan Chenjin, senior analyst at Rabobank. China's middle class spent $7.3 trillion in 2020, more than any other countries, according to a report by United States research group Brookings, and is still growing, with young people accounting for more spending than in other countries. New York chain Wolfgang's Steakhouse, which has 2 restaurants in Beijing, opened another in the southern city of Shenzhen this year and has plans for a 4th in Hangzhou. The restaurant flies in chilled United States beef before aging it. Its 800 grams ribeyes cost $150 apiece. Even as China's beef demand has surged in recent years, driven by a growing middle class, politics have reshuffled the country's top importers. In last year's Phase 1 trade deal between Beijing and Washington, China agreed that United States-approved processing plants could access its market without Chinese inspections. The number of facilities allowed to ship to China has jumped to more than 500. Trex Corp, a United States meat exporter owned by Greater Omaha Packing Company, is buying meat from other packers to ship to China as demand climbs, said Henry Davis, chief executive of Greater Omaha. In China, USMF has doubled the number of training events teaching local chefs how best to cut and slice, said Joel Haggard, senior vice president for the Asia Pacific. United States beef that meets China's import standards is in tight supply and the European Union is competing to buy the same meat, said Omaha's Davis. And though Australia's beef exporters have turned to Japan and South Korea, a well-established reputation means customers in China could quickly return if things change.